Hello everyone, my name is Utshabde and today I am going to take a demo class on the topics of C programming. So let's take a look. First of all, we are going to discuss about the class outlines and what is going to learn in this session. First one we are going to learn is what is programming language, and the next we are going to learn language generation, and then the next one is C programming features. After talking about C programming features, we are going to see the difference between high level language versus low level language, and finally we are going to explain the basic of C code. So let's take a look on the first things, that what is programming language. Before talking about programming language, we can simply talk about the language. In the language is a thing in which we can express our feelings. In the same way, the programming language is for computer, in which way computer can execute a instruction. Then what is programming language? Programming languages are one kind of computer languages and are used in computer programming is to implement algorithms. Most programming languages consist of instructions for computers. Now we are going to talk about the language generation. Now, what is language generation? Basically the language generation is divided into 5 parts. The first one is first generation or machine language, and the next one is second generation or assembly language, and the next one is third generation or high level language, and then fourth generation or very high level language, and finally the last one is fifth generation or natural language. Now we are going to discuss about the features of C programming languages. The inventor of C language defined this language as a procedural language, which simply means dividing anyone's big problem into much smaller problems called procedure or functions, so that we can easily work with them. So everything in C is nothing but set of procedures or functions, and this is the main feature of C language. C language is called high level language because it does make programming simpler for human beings, but then on the other hand it also allows us to access system level features such as direct access to memory through pointers, bit manipulation using bitwise operators, writing assembly code within C code. Because of these unique features of C became a popular language, or you can say a popular choice for developing both system level applications like kernels, device drivers, operating systems, etc., and various software applications like games, editors, and other graphic rich applications. These things are called system level features. Now C offers wide variety of built-in functions, standard libraries, and header files like stdio.h, main.h, math.h, stdlib.h, etc. This make programming a cakewalk for programmers, and that is obviously a great advantage. And the next slide is the high level language and low level language. This is the distinction between high level and low level language. Here high and low simply points to the degree of abstraction. Abstraction means hiding system level details, therefore high degree of abstraction means less effort to the users, or you can simply say that user friendliness, as we won't have to worry about what is happening inside. Like examples, text editor. You or me just type on the text editor, and after completing the text we save the text, but without even worrying that how it getting stored or where it is getting stored, etc. This is called higher level abstraction. On the other hand, lower degree of abstraction means more effort to the user. In this case, you have to know each and every internal details about computer. External example of high level languages like COBOL, Fortran, C++, C, etc. And the example of low level language is assembly language. After taking a long conversation on the feature of C programming that we had up till now, let's come to an example to give you an idea about how C code looks like, and we will also explore what does each line mean that we write in the code. Let's try to make the session even more dynamic. Here this is C code, and now I'll explain you what does each line means in the program. In the first line I had written a comment using double slash. Compiler usually ignores these comments. They are meant for the users or you can say developers for their better understanding. And now in the next line I have written hash include. Let's try to understand what does it mean. Hash include, this is so called command written over here is called as a preprocessor directive. Now the common question is that what is preprocessor? So let's take a look on the slide that preprocessor job is to replace the textual content which is actually followed by hash symbol with the actual content. I had simply written hash include in my code, but preprocessor actually replaces this line with the actual file stdio.h. Actually, before the compilation process begins, preprocessor does its jobs by replacing those texts which are followed by hash symbols in the code. As the name itself suggests, preprocessor, which means processing done prior to the actual compilation. Previously what I have is the source code. The code what I written is called as source code, which is now converted to an expanded code, or you can say that the expanded source code. Because of the preprocessor, we had replaced those statements which are followed by hash symbols with the actual content of the files. This obviously increased the size of the actual file. After that, it sends the code to the compiler, and compiler does its normal processing, converting source to the machine code. Therefore, hash include simply requests the preprocessors to include the file stdio.h. Now what does stdio.h means? stdio.h is a standard input output file with dot extension. This file with the .h extension is called header file. Header files usually consist of prototypes, or you can say declaration of the functions that we need. For example, stdio.h consists of declaration of the functions like printf and scanf. Printf function is used to print the contents whatever is there inside its parenthesis, and scanf is used to take user input at runtime. Including the header file is important, as I need to tell that which functions I am going to use in my program. Next, I had written a expression int main followed by curly braces, and inside them I have written some statements. Before explaining that what I really mean with this statement, I want to brief an overview about what is functions and a variable. Whatever code anyone write in C always consists of these two important things. C function consists of a group of statements that are intended to solve a particular problem. On the other hand, variables are the entitles used to store values which are used during computation. In our example, we have a function named main, and the statements of the main are enclosed within these curly braces. Here the main purpose of main function is to print hello world as output. That I have written here is return 0. It indicates that if my statement complete execution successfully, then return integer 0 and exit from the function. Else if something else goes wrong, it will return some other integer than 0. I simply put a semicolon over here. The reason behind this is that this function is predefined somewhere in the standard library, which is the library containing definition of many functions like printf. The advantage of such a library is that we won't have to write down the codes of functions again and again. Instead, we simply call them whenever we need. We just have to call the function instead of defining it once again. Okay, let's execute the code. After hit the run button to execute my code, we see the output hello world is printed. That means that our program completed successfully. That's all what I have to present it in demo class. See you next time. Thank you.